Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be going over the iPad 3 and what you should expect on it. So this is going to be my second iPad 3 rumor roundup. This is going to be my last one because obviously we're coming up on the release date for the iPad 3, which is expected to be around March 9th to March 16th, I say. So let's get into what we should expect on the iPad 3. So when we look at the iPad 2 and we're going to be looking at the iPad 3, we're not going to be able to tell a difference between the two just from the front screen. Both screens are expected to be 9.7 inches, just like the iPad 2. So one thing we should not be expecting is a big rehaul of the front screen of the iPad 3. There's basically going to be no difference between the iPad 2 and the iPad 3's front panel. You're actually going to be able to pick it up and you're not going to be able to tell a difference basically from the front screen until you turn it on. Apple.pro actually did release a photo of the iPad 3 in its front panel. And on the front panel, they actually did have the digitizer, and it was actually longer than the digitizer on the iPad 2. And you may be asking me, what does this mean? Basically, this means that the iPad 3 basically could have a Retina display according to that longer ribbon size. We'd be looking at a 2048 by 1536 resolution screen on the iPad 3, which is double compared to the iPad 2. The next topic is about the size of the iPad 3. MIC Gadget, they actually released a photo comparing the iPad 3 and iPad 2 shell, and the iPad 3 shell was surprisingly 1mm to 1.5mm thicker than the iPad 2 in some areas. But more tapering was shown on the iPad 3, which would indicate that it would feel thinner in the hands compared to what it looks like. Also in the photo, there was a bigger camera. If you notice, the iPad 2 had a smaller camera lens and the iPad 3 had a bigger camera lens. And it was sort of like the iPhone 4S's camera. So this could indicate that the iPad 3 will have an 8 megapixel camera just like the iPhone 4S. And the iPhone 4S used a Sony camera, so the iPad 3 would be likely to use that same camera. Also, on a Chinese forum, there was photos released of what looked to be an iPad 3 Retina display production line. They actually provided proof photos of the Retina display, and they showed people in the production line working, and they showed a bunch of boxes stacked up, which would indicate those were Retina displays being ready to be shipped out to the company to add to the iPad. Mac Rumors actually got a hold of one of those Retina displays and they put it under a microscope, and they found that it had a resolution of 2048 by 1536, and it had 4 times more pixels than the iPad 2. Now just imagine an iPad 3 4 times better screen resolution than the iPad 2. That would just be amazing. It would be an amazing gaming experience, and if it had a quad-core processor, which it probably will, it's going to be a much better device than the iPad 2 and any other tablet out there. Also, a member of a Chinese forum called WePhone actually released a photo of a processor for the iPad. It was an A5X processor, which we have no idea about. Apple has released the A4 processor, which was a single core, and then they released the A5 processor, which is a dual core. And then they were expected to release the A6 processor, which would be a quad core. But if they were to release a A5X processor, this would mean it would be a high-end dual core. It would just be an upgrade from the iPad 2 processor. But on the chip, there was a code that indicated that it was made around November 15th, which would indicate that it could just be a prototype, and since then they actually moved on and added an A6 processor. And another reason to speculate that they should add the A6 processor is because it's a quad core, and Android has already announced a quad core tablet of their own. So you know Apple's not going to want to get behind Android, so Apple's going to go right ahead and they're going to add that quad core to their tablet, knowing they only released one tablet a year. And if you do remember, there was some coding found in the iOS 5.1 coding that basically said that it had support for a quad-core processor. Now, why would Apple do that if they have no quad-core devices? Why would they add support for a quad-core device? Were they just tricking us, or was this because the iPad 3 was coming out? Now, the next topic is about internet. There is some speculation that the iPad 3 is going to include LTE capabilities, which would be 4G capabilities, which is way better than 3G, because other tablets such as Android tablets are already beginning to allow support for that. And once again, Apple does not want to get behind Android because people could choose Android over Apple. and Apple doesn't want that. Now moving on to the last topic, which would be the release date. I said this at the beginning, March 7th will probably be the announcement date, which is a Wednesday, because Apple usually does many other announcements midweek, and then they may actually come back and release the iPad 3 on the 9th, which is a Friday, which is when they usually release their new devices. I don't believe Apple has ever announced a device and then released it 2 days after, so it is possible that they do wait a week and 2 days and they release it on the 16th, but that's just a rumor. And there is another rumor from a reliable source that in Germany, they're actually going to release the iPad 3 on the 23rd of March after the release of the US iPad 3 a week or two earlier. One thing we do know is that the iPad 3 is probably going to be released before March 23rd. So guys, that is it for the rumors right there. Those are all the rumors that have been swirling around this past week and everyone's been talking about. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think the iPad 3 is going to include that I didn't talk about. Do you think it's going to have a quad-core processor, or do you think they're going to trick us and they're going to put it in an A5X processor? Who knows? It's Apple. They can do anything. Now, I know there is a lot more to be discussed about the iPad 3, but those were just the rumors I thought were interesting. Now, remember to subscribe for more. Remember to like this video and leave a comment. And also, like me on Facebook. The link's in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, add me on Google+, and I am going to be opening a website, an Apple News website, rumors website, etc. I'm going to be opening it. It's called detectapple.com. It's not yet open. It's a park domain right now, and I'm going to be adding all the latest Apple rumors, news, and everything like that on a daily basis, kind of like I download blog, Mac rumors, and all the sites like that. So anyways, guys, I will see you guys in the next one.